And good evening, everyone, and welcome to AIDS Call-In Live. My name is Kendall Moore, and I am with my colleague, Jolita Holloman. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Thank you for being back with us. And folks, so thank you for allowing us to be a part of your evening this Wednesday. Listen, we are part of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization servicing AIDS patients in advocacy, treatment, pharmacy, linkage to care, as well as comprehensive services. AHF, we are located throughout the world, and most specifically, we are here in the city of Chicago. We've recently joined the city of Chicago about a year and a half ago, and we're very excited about it. So this evening we will be discussing some of the services that we provide at AHF here in Chicago, giving you the addresses. You will have the opportunity to give us a call here, ask us any questions that you may have, and or we're able to connect you to services relative to HIV and AIDS and any other ancillary services that we may be able to help assist in. The call-in number is 312-738-1060. So, Jolie and I, today I'm very excited to announce that National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day is upon us. And, you know, happy Black History Month to all of those who are out there, by the way. But yeah, National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day is coming up February 7th, and I'm really excited to talk about the purpose behind it and some of the activities that will be taking place here in the city of Chicago. Now, National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day is to get blacks educated about the basics of HIV and AIDS, and actually it serves as the annual day for African Americans and other communities of color to get tested. Even, in fact, you know, folks do it on an annual basis, but this day specifically is outlined for those populations. And what it does is it serves just as a reminder about the devastation and the impact that HIV and AIDS are having on communities of color. Jolie, I know that there are a number of events that are coming up, you know, for the month of February. And just turn it over to you. I know you're going to be talking about some of those events. And by the way, folks, Jolie, again, not to be redundant, she's the Linkage to Care Coordinator for the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. So, Ms. Jolie, go ahead and take her away.
Well, there are a couple things that are happening around the city, and believe me, this is by no means like a all-encompassing list, okay? So there are other things that are happening in the city that we might not mention. Please be sure to, you know, go online, look up, because I know that there are some organizations that we may not have come in contact with that are doing things. But one of that I like to know is West Point Baptist on February 4th is having an event during the day, and it will be offering testing as well. I didn't get all of the information about the event, but I want to put it on your radar. There's a coalition of black churches and black healthcare professionals who work together to create this event. And I think this is their first annual event during National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, but it is sure to be a good one. West Point Baptist has been a real friend to the community, and they've hosted other events such as PrEP events. PrEP, as we talked about in the last show, is a once-a-day pill that you can take. It's a piece of the group of medicine that someone would take if they were HIV positive. But this pill actually helps to keep people negative. So for high-risk individuals who are concerned, they can take this pill once a day, and it has a beyond condom percentage rate of efficacy. So do you have a question?
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, and I just wanted to make sure that folks are aware that, you know, PrEP, we certainly, it's good, but, you know, by all means, we still want to continue to practice safe sex.
Yes.
Jolie, let's bring us back real quick. So, National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Let's talk about that. Why is it so important for the African American community, you know, relative to HIV and AIDS? You know, I use the word, and I don't use it loosely, that it, you know, it really is having a tremendous, devastating impact on communities of color, and particularly African American communities. You know what's interesting, this morning I was looking at the news, and the Chicago Police Department released statistics on murders in the city of Chicago and where the highest incident rate for murders were happening. And incidentally, it mirrors the prevalence rate in the African American communities relative to the HIV/AIDS epidemic. I just found that, it was just really interesting.
You're going to toss me some heavy stuff today.
No, not at all. But
did I bring my soapbox? No, I mean, it's not incidental because, just to touch on something that, we probably don't have the depth for, but if you think about it, a lot of our communities just aren't empowered when it comes to health, when it comes to caring for ourselves, when it comes to understanding our self-worth. So if you are looking at communities that don't have access to, I won't say real because that's not fair, but don't have access to the same type of education as some other areas, don't have access to the same health,
benefits
yeah,
and
all of these type of things.
et
So,
cetera. Sure.
so there are a lot of things that they just don't have. We don't all start at the same scratch line, and so I think that it's not a coincidence that they would mirror. And I think we need to do more to get at the root of the problem. I think in linkage, and as you know at AHF, what we're trying to do is be more comprehensive in our services because that's what's needed. You can't just pinpoint, okay, well, this area is struggling with HIV, so let's get some testing in there because no one's thinking about getting tested if they don't know what they're going to eat. No one's thinking about getting their medication when they find out they're positive. They don't know where they're going to stay.
Absolutely.
So there are other things that we all know are needed for people in order for them to focus on the next thing.
HIV and AIDS, folks, having a tremendous impact. And, not to be redundant, but the African American community, when I talk about it, I don't speak lightly of it. But February is a great opportunity, and February 7th is an excellent opportunity for yourselves to get tested if you haven't been tested. And for those of you who know what your statuses already are, it's an excellent opportunity if you have fallen out of care that you get reconnected to services to assist in basically healing the community. What's interesting, what really is interesting to me about HIV and AIDS in the African American community, and we'll just talk about it, is that people still having sex, unprotected sex. And even in 2017, when you got social media, you got people cheating on one another, you got young folks who are bisexual, trisexual, questionable, that more folks wouldn't pay attention and take more stock into their personal health. And I'm not on the soapbox, I'm not here to judge anyone. Without saying, you cast the first stone.
Right.
But, but the impact that it's having and the number of services that are readily available and, African American communities not truly taking advantage of that. I have found that. And, your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that. What I'll say is, what I thought of when you were talking about this is what I get from a lot of my clients, which is if they're, we have a...
Yeah, we do. We got a call. I need to take a call. Oh, no, we're good. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So the concerns that I get from some of my clients, which are, I know I'm positive and I need to take care of myself, but when I talk to people about it or when I tell people about it, will I ever find someone who will love me? Will I ever find someone who will, accept me and the disease that I live with? And I think that, and I bring that up to say that when you talk about, why aren't we caring for one another, a large part of that is we're still dealing with a lot of stigma. So National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day is really, yes, it's a day to get tested. Yes, it's a day to be healthy, but it's also a day for us to talk about it. It's a day for us to talk about sex.
Absolutely.
It's a day for us to talk about HIV. It's a day for us to also show love about it because there's so many people in our community who are carrying not only the disease, but shame. They're carrying a level of embarrassment or whatever it is. And I'm not saying that they should, and I'm not saying that's for everyone, because there are a lot of people who live in freedom,
Sure, absolutely.
and living with HIV, and that's a beautiful thing. But for the amount of people who are, there are tons who aren't. And so I think that for this Awareness Day, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see people get tested, but if you don't get tested, at least talk to someone about it. Talk to someone about HIV. Talk to someone about what it means to have safe sex. You know, I think that we can attack stigma day by day with the little thing that we can do, the little things that we do. It's like what they tell you on the airplane. You know, before you try and put someone else's mask on, put your own on.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great analogy.
I think that's what we need to do, especially in Chicago when it comes to taking care of ourselves. We need to start putting our own mask on, working on our families, making sure that we're taking care of our own health. And believe me, it spreads. You know, good things like that. We set an example for others who are watching us.
312-738-1060. That's the call-in number. It's the AIDS call-in line. Kendall Moore, Jolie Holloman. We're here on behalf of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. By the way, we do provide services. We provide free testing. We provide medications at a discounted and free of charge. Linkage to care, case management. We are a full, comprehensive AIDS servicing organization here in the city of Chicago without judgment. I want to be very clear about that. We have 2 locations, and I want to give you that information. The first is located at 2600 South on Michigan Avenue. That's 26 in Michigan. We're in a lower level, and our office hours on Michigan are Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. Also on Mondays and Thursdays from 4 until 8 p.m. We run a wellness clinic. And the wellness clinic, you can come in, you don't have to give us a call, you can walk in absolutely free and get an STI, sexually transmitted infection test. So we test for gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, and we also prescribe PrEP, if in fact you fall into the category of being a person who we feel could benefit from that. Our second location is located in Hyde Park. It's an excellent facility. We're open there Tuesdays from 9 until 6 p.m. And that address is 1515 East 52nd Place, and we're located on the 2nd floor. I also want to give you the phone number, which is 312-881-3050. I'll give you that information again prior to us getting off of the air. But I wanted to slide it in as we were talking because there's someone sitting at home right now, and moms and dads and coaches and mentors, other social service agencies. I would humbly implore that if in fact you do not know what your statuses are, or you're just in a position to encourage others to get an HIV test. The sooner you know, the better it is for you to begin to receive services and services to be provided to you. Jolie, speaking of prevention, also for the month of February, there is International Condom Day.
Yeah.
And it runs parallel to Valentine's Day.
It does. It does.
Look, I'm just about,
I don't think that's a coincidence.
That was great marketing. You know
Right,
what I mean?
It was. It's
International Condom Day, and it's a way to promote the use of condoms as a means of prevention, unwanted pregnancies, STIs, which are sexually transmitted infection diseases. But for AHF, it's our number one reasoning behind it is to reduce the spread of HIV through sex. Unsafe sex practices. So International Condom Day is coming up February 14th. There are a number.
February 13th.
Is it
Isn't it
13th?
I believe it's the 13th.
Is it? You know what? So it probably. You know what? It is the 13th.
I believe it's the 13th, but I should double check now. Now I'm concerned, but I believe it's the 13th. I know our event is the 13th.
There are a number of events that are happening on the 13th. But International Condom Day, it coincides with just the National Black HIV AIDS Awareness Day. And folks, it's all about, prevention and your health. Jolie, back to you. I know I'm looking at what you got pulled up here. What's going on with that?
So I do have the information for the February 4th event. So Saturday, February 4th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at West Point Baptist Church. And West Point Baptist Church is off of 35th. I don't have an exact address, do I? But you can also Google it.
There you go, 3566 South Cottage Grove.
You got it.
So we work together.
Exactly. 3566 South Cottage Grove Avenue. The host is Reverend Dr. L. Bernard Jakes and his wife, the wonderful, impeccable Carol Jakes, First Lady Carol Jakes. She's awesome. So they're having this event. There'll be breakfast and registration between 9 and 10, and then the workshops begin at 10 a.m. They're going to also, besides HIV testing, offer Hep C testing and meningitis vaccines. So that's pretty awesome. So check that out. I also wanted to mention, kind of in line with what we're talking about with National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, is another event. There's an action actually taking place. I think we've talked about this before, but the city of Chicago was looking at a kind of a systematic transition where they were going to be moving their funding model. So initially it was called the Centers of Excellence. That has since kind of taken a change because they got so much pushback about this shift, but they're still looking at possibly implementing this new model in the next year. Right now there are about 130 estimate about 130 places that are funded right now through CDPH to do the work of HIV testing and prevention and treatment, and it's looking like it would go down to less than 10. And right now, I mean, the way the model is set up currently, there wouldn't be one African American organization that would be able to get this funding the way it's set up.
That's interesting that you bring it up. I want you to continue, but when you think about that, folks, and this is what I'm talking to you about, we have to take African American Blacks communities. We have to take our health into our own hands. Yeah. Could you imagine not having a Black African American provider servicing the African American community? Because it sounds like
I can't imagine it.
I mean, because that's what
that's what
it sounds like the city is moving to right now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Hopefully
not.
I don't overspeak
because
that.
Right. Well, I'm hoping not, because there are people like us who are making a big fuss and saying, no, this wouldn't be right. This wouldn't be right for these reasons, and give us a chance at the table to help you create a model that works for our communities. So we understand that there needs to be a shift. The fact of the matter is, even though Chicago is doing better and the nation is doing better when it comes to HIV, we still have groups such as African Americans, and minorities, Latinas, and MSM, young people. There are a number of groups that aren't doing as well as the rest of the country, that aren't doing as well as the rest of our communities in Chicago. So we need to do better, and we need to do better for those specific communities. So how can you make it harder for those communities to heal themselves? Does that make sense?
It makes perfectly good sense.
So,
and it goes back to, and I want to go back to what you just said, Jolie, and that's why, there are advocates like ourselves, and there are other organizations that are out there who are AIDS servicing organizations, federally qualified health centers that provide a service, to the underserved. Something else I want to bring up and not put a spin to it, I know we don't have enough time to talk about it, is Donald Trump being in office right now, and all of those executive orders that went out last week, absolutely bananas. Earlier this week, matter of fact, it was Monday, I heard that he was thinking about putting out an executive order to reverse what President Obama implemented relative to the LGBTQ community, and them not having to fear of losing their jobs because of their status. And he literally, he was about to, reverse that. But the reason I bring that up specifically is because we don't know what lies ahead as it relates to so many folks who are about to have a change in their insurance policies. And that's coming sooner than later.
Right. So, again, even more reason why people, if this is something that you're concerned about, if it's something that you feel could be affecting you, I would encourage you to go down and be a part of that protest.
Yeah.
That action is
What's the
taking
date
place.
on that? Yeah, I don't think I caught that.
The action is taking place on February 7th. So it's taking place on the exact day of National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness
Excellent.
Day. So February 7th, they are meeting at City Hall at 10 a.m. It's going to be in action from 10 to 11. You can't be late. You got to get there early, okay?
Black
It's going
folks.
from 10 to 11, all right? So, City Hall, February 17th to 11. The host groups are BTAN, Black Treatment and Advocacy Network, Black Treatment and Advocates Network, SHARP, which is the Southside HIV/AIDS Regional Providers Council, and then WARP, the Westside Health Westside Health Advocates Regional Planning Council. So those groups are all coming together. So it's going to be a nice group of people. Come out and be a part of that. February 7th, February 7th, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Folks, plug into what's going on for Black History Month and make HIV and AIDS your priority. Don't want to throw a bunch of numbers out there as far as statistics are concerned, but rather I want to speak from the heart and from a qualitative standpoint, and that is, we're having sex. And because we are, we need to prevent others from being affected and or impacted by some of the choices that we are making, some of the unhealthy choices that, some of us are making. Know what your status is and get you an HIV test. Find out if you do not know. And I heavily encourage you to do so. Because just knowing, that's a ton of prevention that can take place. We're going to have to wrap up in just a moment. Jolie, I want to give you a chance to do some closing remarks, and then I want to give the folks a way to get in contact with us and more information about AHF and our services here in Chicago.
Closing remarks, just to piggyback on what you said so eloquently as far as people having sex. But people are having sex, and it's a simple thing. Just get tested. Just get tested. Every time you go to see a doctor, there's a bunch of other things that he screens for. He makes sure that your blood pressure is okay. He makes sure that your cholesterol is okay. This is something that you just get tested for, so you can know. The knowledge is the power. Okay. People who are living with HIV now can live just as long as anybody else. There is no difference. It's just a point of managing it. You have to know that you manage it, and then you live. So just find out.
All right. Now, great words from my colleague, Jolie. Again, she serves as the Linkage to Care Coordinator for the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. We are reachable at 2600 South on Michigan Avenue, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. Come in, get you a free HIV test.
Yes.
Don't worry about if you don't have any money. Get you a test. If in fact you come back positive, we're able to provide comprehensive services. This is wraparound services. You don't have to leave the building for absolutely anything. We're going to get you connected to every service that you will need, including medication.
And can I just say,
Yeah, please.
if there's someone watching who's out of care, or you know someone who's out of care, you can call me directly,
Yeah.
and I will get you linked into care. 312-459-7612.
You probably should say that 3 times.
I
That's what I've
know,
learned.
and I should make sure that it's right. 312-459-7612. 312-459-7612. But you can also reach me at the number that he's going to give out, which is the clinic number.
And the clinic number is 312-881-3050. Again, that number is 312-881-3050. Our second location is located at 1515 East 52nd Place. We are in the heart of Hyde Park. We're open there on Tuesdays from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Same services, HIV testing, primary care services, linkage to care, case management, housing, connecting you to ancillary services as well. Again, folks, we want to humbly remind you guys to just protect yourself. Try to live as healthy a lifestyle and a preventable lifestyle as possible. I encourage you to visit our website at AIDSHealthcareFoundation.org. And again, you can reach Jolie and I 24 hours a day. Giving you the numbers, I'll give it to you one more time, 312-881-3050. We are available for those, because we didn't get calls today, but we know that folks actually are paying attention and listening to this program. Please feel free to give us a call, because we want to get you into care and help you as much as possible. I know we got to wrap up, Julie. Your phone number, one more again.
312-459-7612. 312-459-7612.
Thank you, guys, and we will see you next month.